ladies and gentlemen of the jury, Your Honor, and opposing counsel. The case you are going to hear today is about a domestic violence dispute between the plaintiff, Ms. Jasmine Newton, and the defendant, Mr. Marcellus Smith, that occurred at a Piggly Wiggly that resulted in an aggravated assault, therefore leaving Ms. Newton hospitalized. My name is Tymera Holman, and along with my fellow colleague, Ms. Nade Diame, we will be representing the plaintiff, Ms. Jasmine Newton. Today's evidence will show that on October 5th, 2018, the plaintiff and then girlfriend, Ms. Newton, and the defendant, Mr. Smith, did some grocery shopping at a Piggly Wiggly in Dover, Delaware. Minutes into grocery shopping, an altercation ensues and Smith hits Newton in the face with a gun. Due to injuries sustained during this altercation, Newton is therefore hospitalized. At the hospital, she is diagnosed with blunt force trauma to the head, a fractured nose, and a busted lip. Today, you'll be hearing testimony from the plaintiff as well as two witnesses. The plaintiff will testify under oath that Smith hit her in the face with a deadly weapon, a gun, therefore causing her serious bodily harm as well as apprehension, also known as fear and uneasy state of mind. The first witness, Mr. Andrew Eagle, who was present at the Piggly Wiggly, will testify under oath to recording the altercation off a prompter and therefore can identify Mr. Smith as the culprit here in court today. The second witness, Mr. Mo Manuel, who was present at the hospital and shared a hospital room with Ms. Newton, will testify under oath during having various conversations with Ms. Newton and can identify Marcellus as the culprit. Today's evidence will show that Marcellus was not only present at the Piggly Wiggly on October 5th, but that he was the one that caused this aggravated assault against Ms. Newton. At the end of trial today, Judge Correa is going to instruct you on the law. And what that means is he is going to explain that the plaintiff, as well as her counsel, bears the burden of proof. This means that when you put all the legal jargon aside, Nade and I must convince you of three things. During the deliberation at the end of trial, you will be given all the witness testimony as well as all the evidence. And you must believe that beyond a reasonable doubt that first, Smith caused apprehension, also known as fear, uneasy state of mind in Ms. Newton. Two, that Smith used a deadly weapon, a gun, to cause serious bodily harm to Ms. Newton. And that third, Smith had the force and the power to cause such serious bodily harm to Ms. Newton. Thank you.
Your Honor, the prosecution would like to call Jasmine Newton to the stand.
Ms. Newton, can you place your hand on the Bible and raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, please be seated.
Good morning, Ms. Newton. Could you please state your full name and occupation for the jury, please?
My name is Jasmine Newton, and I'm an EMT.
Okay. Ms. Newton, what is your relationship with the defendant?
He's my living boyfriend.
Okay, and how did you meet him?
We met in our junior year of college.
And how many years would you say that you've known the defendant?
About 7.
Okay. So what were you doing on October 5th, 2018?
Well, as I just told you, I'm an EMT. So I got off of work around 9 in the morning. And after I got off of work, I had a client that I had to attend to at 11. I left my client around 3, and I proceeded to go to my apartment to go grocery shopping with my boyfriend.
Okay. So can you tell me what transpired between you and Mrs. Smith and the Piggly Wiggly on October 5th, 2018?
Well, when I got back to my apartment, Marcellus, he got a little upset that I had came back earlier than expected from my client, and we started arguing. I drove to the Piggly Wiggly, and when we got there, he proceeded to grab my arm, and I moved away from him, and I guess he took that from me being hostile. The arguments still continued to ensue. We went inside the Piggly Wiggly, and he started talking to me some more, and I kept ignoring him, and he eventually hit me in my face.
I'm so sorry that happened to you. So prior to this event occurring, did Marcellus ever hit you before?
Objection, Your Honor. According to Rule 403, it's not relevant. It is far more prejudicial than probative to this case.
It is more probative than prejudicial because it shows Marcellus' violent propensities. So,
Counselor, your objection is overruled.
So,
Please continue.
did Smith cause any apprehension, also known as anxiety, fear, or unease, state of mind to you?
Yes, definitely.
When Smith hit you in the face with the gun, did they cause you any serious bodily injuries?
Yes, I got blunt force trauma to the head, also a broken nose and a busted lip.
Did you believe Smith had the intent to apply force that would cause you bodily harm?
Yes.
Thank you, Your Honor. No further question for this witness.
You said Marcellus intended to cause you serious bodily harm.
Yes.
So why would you stay with someone who you believe that will cause you seriously bodily harm?
Because he took care of me. For the past 7 years that we've been together, he's helped me find a job. He's helped me keep my job. He's helped me make money. He's bought me things. Yes, I'm scared, but he's providing for me.
Now, Jasmine, is it true that you're an EMT?
Yes.
And do you normally call your patients clients?
Objection, Your Honor. Newton's extracurricular activities are not relevant to the aggravated case at hand.
Counselor, do you have anything to say?
Nothing further.
All right. Then the objection is sustained. Do you have
No further questions, Your Honor.
Counselor, do you have any more witnesses?
Yes, the prosecution would like to call Andrew Eagle to the stand.
Mr. Eagle, can you please place your left hand on the Bible and raise your right? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, please be seated.
Good morning. Can you please state your full name and occupation for the jury?
Yeah, I'm Andrew Eagle. I'm currently a Wesley college student.
What brought you to the Piggly Wiggly on October 5th, 2018?
Just doing some normal grocery shopping like I normally do.
While you were doing this normal grocery shopping, did you happen to observe anything?
Yeah, I recorded a video off the surveillance camera of a woman and a man having a physical altercation.
Your Honor, I would like to publish this recording to the jury.
Objection, Your Honor. Pursuant to Rule 1002, there is a requirement for an original. This video is merely a copy off of somebody's cell phone.
Well, pursuant to 1003, a duplicate is just as admissible as to the same extent as the original, especially if the original is not obtainable.
Counselor, your objection is overruled. Please continue.
What did this recording consist of?
It showed an oral altercation between a man and a woman that later escalated into a physical altercation where the man whipped the woman across the head with a pistol and handgun.
Is this man present in court today?
Yes, ma'am.
Could you point him out for the jury, please?
Yes, he's right there wearing the black trench coat.
Thank you, Mr. Eagle. No further questions.
Good morning, Mr. Eagle. Is it true that you recorded the incident on your cell phone in the store?
Yes.
How would you describe the quality of the video on your cell phone?
I mean, it's as good as a camera phone can get.
Were there other people in the store at the time of the incident? Other couples? Other people who may resemble the plaintiff and the defendant?
Yeah.
With that being said, is it then possible that somebody else in the store could have been the plaintiff and the defendant here today? That it was not, in fact, the people we have here today?
I guess it's supposed it's possible.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Counselor, do you have any more witnesses to call?
Yes, Your Honor. The prosecution would like to call Mr. Mo Manuel to the stand.
Mr. Manuel, can you put your left hand on the Bible and raise your right? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
All right, please sit.
Good morning. Can you please say your full name and occupation for the jury?
Yes, Mo Manuel, and I'm an entrepreneur.
What caused you to be admitted into the hospital on October 5th, 2018?
Unfortunately, I was in a terrible car accident, and it caused me to break my leg, and I was admitted to the hospital for a couple of weeks.
Who were you assigned to share a hospital room with?
Jasmine Newton.
How would you describe Miss Newton's appearance when she first arrived?
When I first seen Ms. Newton, she was all bruised up in the face, and it appeared that her nose was broken.
Objection, Your Honor. Pursuant to Rule 701, this is opinion testimony of a lay witness. He is merely a patient in the hospital. He has no authority to give any medical diagnosis of the victim.
No rebuttal, Your Honor.
Counselor, your objection is sustained. Continue, please.
Would you say you indulged in various conversations with Miss Newton?
Yes, I did.
Could you please explain the nature of your conversations with Ms. Newton for the jury, please?
Me and Ms. Newton had pretty lengthy conversations. She had told me about her boyfriend Marcellus and how he used to physically and mentally abuse her, and how he also made her sell her body and things of that nature.
Objection, Your Honor. This is hearsay pursuant to Rule 801. Mr. Mo's speaking about conversations that they had in the hospital. It's merely he said, she said.
Well, pursuant to Rule 8033, a statement of the plaintiff's existing mental, emotional, or physical condition is not excluded by the hearsay rule.
Counselor, your objection is sustained.
What would you say Ms. Newton's tone of voice was?
She was trembling, and you can honestly tell she was very fearful for her life.
Thank you, Mr. Manuel. No further questions.
Isn't it true you were merely a patient in the hospital the day the victim was admitted?
Yes.
Were you on any medication the day you were placed in the room with Ms. Jasmine?
Yes, I was. I was on Percocets.
Would it be possible that your vision or even your recollection was clouded the day you saw Jasmine?
That could be very possible.
And are you even sure as to what you saw the day you were in the hospital?
At this point, I don't think so.
No further questions.
Your Honor, the prosecution has no more further witnesses.
Defense, do you have any witnesses to call?
Yes, Your Honor. The defense would like to call Mr. Marcellus Smith to the stand.
Mr. Smith, can you push your left hand on the Bible and your right hand up? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please be seated.
Mr. Smith, can you please state your full name and occupation for the jury?
My name is Marcellus Smith. I'm an entrepreneur. I run a home business.
Now, Mr. Smith, how would you say you know the plaintiff, Ms. Jasmine?
You can say we're business partners.
Why were you in the Piggly Wiggly mart the day of the incident?
House was empty, so we had to go get some food. So we decided to go to Piggly Wiggly and pick up some things.
Okay, now I understand there was an altercation that took place inside the Piggly Wiggly mart. Would you mind explaining a little bit about that?
Man, I don't really recall an altercation. She might have had a little attitude or something, but she got over it real quick.
Okay, now is domestic violence something that is common in you and Ms. Newton's relationship?
No, not at all.
Is domestic violence something that is common or a common occurrence that you were surrounded with, growing up, in the neighborhood which you grew up in?
Nah, I was raised through the church, had a really good mentor, brought up on faith, things like that.
So now what is your position on domestic violence?
I'm against it, I don't think men should put their hands on women, we respect women.
Your Honor, we have no further questions for Mr. Smith.
Good morning, Mrs. Smith. How are you today?
I was good before I had to come here.
Well, I do apologize about that. Have you ever hit a woman before?
Objection, Your Honor. This is irrelevant information. My client's prior domestic abuse history is irrelevant to this case today.
Well, Your Honor, the rule should be allowed pursuant to Rule 608 A and B and establish character of the witness. When you walked into the Piggly Wiggly, was there still tension between you and Jasmine from the car?
Like I said, she had a little attitude, but it was dealt with real quick.
Okay. In your previous testimony, you stated that you cherish a woman. Do you define cherishing a woman by raising your hand or voice at her as you did in the Piggly Wiggly on October 5th, 2018?
I done told y'all already, man. I ain't raised my hand or my voice.
Good to know. Since you believe that all men should respect women, did you physically abuse her in public or in general at all? Why did you physically abuse her in public?
I told you already, I ain't physically abused her.
Well, Mr. Smith, we have evidence showing that you did abuse her, so please answer the questions.
Yeah, I don't
Since you
recall.
believe that all men should respect women, why did you abuse our client in public?
I didn't abuse her, like I said. I said it was a altercation. She had an attitude. It was dealt with.
Okay. So do you justify your actions that took place at the Piggly Wiggly while you were casually shopping, with your beloved girlfriend? Does
What
that
act-
usually happen?
What actions? I said she had an attitude, and it was dealt with. She good now. She hit.
So, Mr. Smith, is it true that you hit your wife Samantha before?
Objection, Your Honor. Pursuant to Rule 804, the declarant is unavailable for this trial. She's exercising her Fifth Amendment right.
Then your objection is sustained. Counselor, do you have any more witnesses to call?
Yes, Your Honor. The defense would like to call Reverend Tony Jones to the stand.
Mr. Jones, can you please put your left hand on the Bible and your right hand up?
Yes.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
As long as God is my witness, I do.
All right, please have a seat.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Jones, would you mind stating your name and occupation for the jury?
Yes, my name is Reverend Tony Ezekiel Jones III, and I am the pastor of 22nd Baptist Street in Dover, Delaware.
Okay, now would you mind explaining how you know Mr. Smith?
Well, it happened many, many years ago. It's like God brought him here because in front of the church he got into a little scuffle with another young man, and that young man swiffled off into the wind. But God left Marcellus there, and I invited Marcellus into the church, and then we cleaned him up, and then we gave him some food, and ever since then, me and Marcellus have been creating a wonderful bond and mentorship.
So now, Mr. Jones, would you mind explaining the relationship that you've developed with Mr. Smith over the years?
Like I said before, it's a mentorship. Marcellus, me and Marcellus have been working together and guiding him into the right direction. Marcellus is wonderful. He has done wonderful things in the community, and I tell him how great of a leader he is to the community. He is a pillar to the community.
Okay, now I noticed you mentioned a couple activities or mentioned Mr. Smith's community engagements in the community. Would you mind explaining those a little bit?
Oh, yes, indeed I can. Marcellus, we give a turkey drive every year where we give over 100 turkeys to families in need. Also, we do a toy drive where we give to families and different kids every year. And also the Christmas bash. Oh my God, the Christmas bash is wonderful. Everybody from the neighborhood comes and eat, and it's a great fiesta. Thank God for the Christmas fest.
Your Honor, we have no further questions for the witness.
Good morning. May I call you Reverend?
Oh yes, sweetheart. That's what the Lord blessed me with, that name.
Thank you. So since you are a reverend, isn't it true you are disgraced by acts of domestic violence and prostitution?
Oh yes, that is demonic act, and I do not support that.
Well, since you are a trusted individual in the community, did Marcellus disclose any information about this assault with you?
Objection, Your Honor. This is privileged information pursuant to Rule 501.
No rebuttal, Your Honor.
Your objection is sustained. Please continue.
Well, isn't it true you've been arrested before?
Oh, darling, that was many, many years ago when I was a young pup. But the Lord...
Objection, Your Honor. This is irrelevant. Reverend Jones is not on trial here.
Yes.
Well, pursuant to 609, I would like to impeach the credibility of this witness based off a prior conviction. I would like to publish to the jury a police report that indicates that this upstanding deacon was arrested 10 years ago with the defendant for being in possession of marijuana.
Counselor, your objection is sustained.
No more further questions, Your Honor.
Thank God.
Counselors, do you have any more witnesses to call?
No, Your Honor. We have no further witnesses. The defense rests.
The prosecution rests, Your Honor.
As you can see, the domestic dispute between my client Marcellus Smith and the plaintiff Jasmine Newton is not what it seems. My client is innocent. Mr. Smith had a rough upbringing, but he has made tremendous improvement with the help of Reverend Tony. Marcellus believed in giving back to his community and feeding the homeless. He is truly the light of his community. As you can see, the evidence here is extremely questionable. There is no direct evidence that points my client, Marcellus Smith, as assaulting the plaintiff, Jasmine Newton, on October 5th, 2018, at the Piggly Wiggly Mark. The evidence we have seen in this case is nothing more than hearsay and a bogus video. Today, we have heard from the plaintiff, Jasmine Newton, and in her testimony, she stated that she felt as though her life was in danger while dealing with Mr. Smith. It is extremely hard to understand how a person can feel as though their life is in danger and be with a person for 6 years. Today, we have also heard from Andrew Eagle, who was the witness who recorded the video of the incident that my client is being blamed for. Mr. Eagle did not even see my client's face in the video and could not identify him. Given all of what you heard and seen regarding this case, remember, a person can be a productive asset in their community, even if they have a troubled past. We are all not perfect, we have our flaws. My client was a bad guy, but has turned his life around and began to serve and give back to his community. As we can see, Mr. Smith did not cause apprehension to Miss Newton. Newton willingly engaged in a relationship with Smith for 6 years. There is no solid proof that my client acted with force of a deadly weapon. The evidence is extremely ambiguous and can point to anybody. Lastly, even if Smith had the ability to harm my client does not mean he did. It is just easier for the prosecution to put the blame on my client. Nothing further, thank you.